Picture this, it's 3 a.m. You're wide awake, staring at the ceiling, and that voice in your head won't shut up. Why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why am I still here, stuck in the same patterns, making the same mistakes? You know you're capable of more. You feel it burning inside you. But something keeps pulling you back into the same cycles of doubt, hesitation, and comfort. Here's what most people don't realize. 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli watched empires rise and fall. He studied princes, generals, and leaders who had everything: power, resources, armies, and still lost. Not to their enemies, but to themselves. And in his brutal observations of human nature, he discovered 7 laws that separate those who remain ordinary from those who become unstoppable. These aren't feel-good principles. They're raw truths that force you to look at yourself without the comforting lies we all tell ourselves. If you're ready to stop being your own worst enemy, keep watching. Because what you're about to learn might be exactly what you've been avoiding. Before we dive in, write this in the comments: I refuse to be my own obstacle. Let's begin. Law number 1. Master your emotions or they will master you. There's a moment that defines who you are. It's not in your victories or your best days. It's in that split second when someone disrespects you, when fear whispers you're not enough, when everything inside you screams to react. What you do in that moment reveals everything. Machiavelli understood something profound: he who builds on the people builds on mud. If your peace depends on other people's approval, if your decisions are driven by whatever emotion hits you hardest, then you're standing on ground that will collapse beneath you. Think about it. How many times have you sent that angry text and regretted it? How many opportunities did you miss because fear made the decision for you? How many relationships did you damage because you let frustration speak instead of wisdom? The strongest people you know aren't emotionless. They feel deeply. But they've learned to create space between feeling and action. They can sit with anger, acknowledge fear, experience hurt, and still choose their response with clarity. Here's the brutal truth: every time you let emotions control you, you're handing over your power to whatever triggered you. That person who insulted you. They now control your next move. That setback? It's deciding your entire day. That fear? It's writing your future. Machiavelli's first law demands something radical. Feel everything, but let nothing control you. Be the person who can walk through fire and come out with a clear mind. Because the moment you master your internal world, the external world loses its power over you. Law number 2. See reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. We're all guilty of it. We look at our lives through rose-colored glasses, telling ourselves comforting lies. It'll work itself out. I still have time. Things will get better on their own. Meanwhile, the gap between who we are and who we want to be keeps widening. Machiavelli was ruthless about this. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. In other words, face the truth now, or life will force you to face it later, under much worse circumstances. What truth are you avoiding right now? Maybe it's that relationship that's been dead for months, but you're too afraid to walk away. Maybe it's that you've been calling yourself busy, when really, you're just distracted. Maybe it's that your habits aren't aligned with your dreams, and deep down, you know it. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they can't change. It's because they refuse to see clearly. They wrap themselves in excuses, in "tomorrow I'll start," in blaming circumstances. But here's what Machiavelli knew: you cannot build anything real on a foundation of lies. Not success, not growth, not self-respect. Accepting reality doesn't mean giving up. It means finally having accurate information to work with. It means stopping the exhausting game of pretending everything's fine when it's not. It means looking at your bank account, your relationships, your health, your daily choices, and saying, okay, this is where I actually am. Now what? The most powerful question you can ask yourself today: what reality am I refusing to accept? That answer might sting. But it might also be the key that unlocks everything. Law number 3. Strategy always defeats raw force. You can scream louder. You can work yourself to exhaustion. You can push harder than everyone around you. But if you don't have a clear strategy, you're just creating motion without progress. Machiavelli observed that kingdoms weren't won by the strongest armies, they were won by the smartest generals. He said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Most people misunderstand this completely. He wasn't advocating cruelty. He was saying your presence, your decisions, your consistency should be so solid that people respect your boundaries without you having to defend them constantly. Think about the battles you're fighting in your life right now. How many of them are driven by emotion rather than strategy? You want to prove yourself to someone who doesn't matter. You want to win an argument that has no real stakes. You want immediate results from efforts that require patience. Real power doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. Real power moves with intention. It knows when to speak and when silence is stronger. It knows when to fight and when walking away is the ultimate victory. It knows when to push forward and when patience will serve you better. Strategy means thinking 3 steps ahead while others are stuck on step 1. It means understanding that not every battle deserves your energy. It means building systems in your life that work for you even when you're not actively working. Stop trying to force your way through everything. Start asking, what's the smartest move here? Not the fastest. Not the loudest. The smartest. Because strength might break walls, but strategy builds empires. Law number 4. Adaptability is survival. Life has a way of destroying your plans. Just when you think you've figured it out, everything shifts. The career path you mapped out disappears. The person you trusted betrays you. The approach that always worked suddenly doesn't. Machiavelli put it perfectly: whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. This might be the most important law of all because it separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. You can be disciplined. You can be focused. But if you're rigid, life will break you. There's no honor in clinging to a strategy that no longer works. There's no strength in refusing to evolve because you're attached to who you used to be. Think about the moments in your life when everything fell apart. Was it the event itself that destroyed you, or was it your inability to adapt to the new reality? Most pain doesn't come from change, it comes from resisting change. Being adaptable doesn't mean abandoning your values or losing your identity. It means being flexible in your methods while staying committed to your vision. It means when one door closes, you don't waste months mourning it. You look for the window, the tunnel, or you build a new door. The world belongs to those who can pivot without losing themselves. When life throws you a curveball, how do you respond? Do you freeze? Do you complain about how unfair it is? Or do you immediately start asking, okay, what's the new play here? Stay flexible. Stay dangerous. Because when people can't predict your every move, when setbacks can't keep you down, you become a force that life itself has to respect. Law number 5. Your image is your silent power. You can be brilliant. You can have good intentions. You can work harder than anyone else. But if the way you present yourself doesn't reflect that, most people will never see it. And unfortunately, people respond to what they see, not what you know is true about yourself. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." That's not pessimism, that's clarity. In the real world, Perception shapes reality. Your reputation opens doors or closes them before you even arrive. So ask yourself honestly, when people interact with you, what do they walk away with? Do they feel calm, focused energy, or chaos? Do you come across as someone who knows where they're going, or someone who's always explaining why they're not there yet? This isn't about being fake. It's about alignment, making sure the person you're becoming on the inside matches what people experience on the outside. Because your image is always talking, even when you're silent. The way you enter a room, the way you hold eye contact, the way you handle pressure, the way you speak or choose not to speak. All of it sends messages. And when those messages consistently say, "I'm grounded, I'm clear, I know my value," people respond differently. Opportunities respond differently. Control your image not for ego, but for effectiveness. Because the world can only work with what it sees. Make sure what it sees reflects who you're actually becoming. Law number 6. Never show weakness to the wrong people. There's a dangerous myth floating around about vulnerability. People say, just be open, be authentic, show your struggles. And while vulnerability has its place, Machiavelli understood something crucial. Not everyone deserves to see you at your weakest. He said, "A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interest." It sounds harsh, but it's real. Some people aren't looking to support you, they're looking for ammunition. Some people will use your openness against you the moment it serves them. Strength is a signal, and the world responds to that signal. When you walk into a room with quiet confidence, when your words carry weight because you don't waste them, when your boundaries are clear, people feel it. They might test you, but they respect you. This doesn't mean being cold or closed off. It means being selective. Your deepest fears, your moments of doubt, your struggles, these are sacred. They belong in the hands of people who've earned your trust, not everyone who asks. Think about the times you opened up too soon to the wrong person. What happened? Did it strengthen the relationship, or did they later use that information when it benefited them? These experiences teach us not to be cynical, but to be wise. Protect your emotional energy like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. You can bend, you can feel, you can struggle. But choose carefully who gets to witness those moments. To everyone else, show the steady strength of someone who's unshakable. Law number 7. Build for tomorrow. Not just today. We live in a world obsessed with instant results. Quick fixes. Fast success. Overnight transformations. And in that hunger for immediate gratification, we sacrifice the very thing that could change everything. Long-term thinking. Machiavelli said, "The ends justify the means," often misunderstood, but here's the real meaning. Know where you're going, and make decisions based on that destination, not just what feels good right now. Every day, you're making a choice. You're either the person who sacrifices discipline for comfort, or you're the person who sacrifices comfort for a future that most people think is impossible. Most people quit not because they lack ability, but because they want results too quickly. They plant seeds and expect fruit the next morning. Real growth doesn't announce itself. It happens in the dark, in the early mornings when no one's watching, in the late nights when no one's cheering, in the mundane middle when nothing feels like it's changing. Think about the times you broke a good habit because it was hard. How many moments of temporary relief cost you months or years of progress? How many times did you choose what felt easy over what would have transformed you? Long-term success requires you to embrace a brutal truth. The actions that will change your life often look boring. They're not glamorous. They're just consistent. Show up when you don't feel like it. Say no to distractions when everyone else is indulging. Keep going when there's no visible evidence it's working. Machiavelli understood that kingdoms weren't built in moments of inspiration. They were built in years of strategic, consistent action. Your life is no different. These 7 laws aren't meant to make you cold or calculating. They're meant to make you free. Free from the emotional reactions that keep you stuck. Free from the illusions that waste your time. Free from the weakness that others exploit. Free from the short-term thinking that steals your future. Machiavelli looked at human nature without the comforting filters most people use. And what he saw still applies today. The person who masters themselves, who sees clearly, who thinks strategically, who adapts without breaking, who controls their image, who protects their strength, and who builds for the long term, that person becomes unstoppable. Not because they're perfect, but because they've stopped being their own worst enemy. Now write this in the comments one more time, and mean it: I refuse to be my own obstacle. If this resonated with you, if something in these words woke up something you've been ignoring, hit that like button and subscribe. Because your transformation doesn't end here. There's more truth waiting for you. I'll see you in the next video, where your rise continues.